meeting of the Gilliam County Court. It's Wednesday, September 5th. I have 10:01 on the clock. First order of business is the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I guess before we go too far, is there any changes or additions to the agenda that I don't have anything today, so we'll go with what we have. First thing on our agenda is public comment. Individuals wishing to address the county court may do so at this time and at other times throughout the meetings. Speakers are asked to raise your hand and be recognized by the chair, give name and address, and limit comments to approximately 3 minutes. Do we have anybody who would like to speak? Give it a minute in case somebody does walk in the door. We'll kind of pick up things. Since we don't have anything, I think we'll move into our first order of business, and that's the swearing in of a CASA volunteer. It happens to be Vicky Winters, the former juvenile director for Gilliam County. So get started. Come on up. We'll do it right here. I'm going to go ahead and give you a copy of this also. So. It's fairly simple, but also, I guess first thing, we're going to raise our right hand, and what we're going to do is repeat after me. I, your name.
I, Vicky Winters.
Do solemnly swear in my capacity as court-appointed special advocate.
Do solemnly swear in my capacity as a court-appointed special advocate.
To investigate all relevant information about the case.
To investigate all relevant information about the case.
To advocate for the child, ensuring that all relevant facts are brought before the court.
To advocate for the child, ensuring that all relevant facts are brought before the court.
To facilitate and negotiate to ensure the court, the Department of Human Services, and the child's attorney fulfill their obligation to the child in a timely fashion.
To facilitate and negotiate to ensure the court, the Department of Human Services, and the child's attorney fulfill their obligations to the child in a timely fashion.
To monitor all court reports to ensure compliance with the orders.
To monitor all court reports to ensure compliance with the orders.
To bring the court's attention any change in circumstances that may require a modification of the court's order.
To bring to the court's attention any change in circumstances that may require a modification of the court's order.
To hold confidential and not to disclose to others, except the court and professionals working under the direction of the court and the parties to the case, information I received about the child's history and prognosis.
To hold confidential and not to disclose to others, except the court and professionals working under the direction of the court and parties to the case, information I received about the child's history and prognosis.
To at all times work to ensure that the child's best interests are maintained at the forefront of the case.
To at all times work to ensure that the child's best interests are maintained at the forefront of the case.
This you solemnly swear.
And this I solemnly swear.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Vicky.
Oh, man, this is absolutely wonderful. We have a couple of papers to sign
Okay.
here real quickly, and then we can, oops. Yeah, this one to sign. I believe we have a couple others here, right? We need other,
No, I think it was
Okay.
just those two that
Okay.
actually needed to sign on the other side.
okay. Looks like there should be.
There might be one here.
Yeah.
City representative.
Yeah.
Why did you, okay, you know me.
There's one page there. It's- yeah. Okay, I think that's it. I'll let you do it too.
Thank you again.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Good, thanks.
You bet.
Thanks for coming aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, so, next thing we have is Darryl Houghtelling, Maintenance Coordinator, Quarterly Staff Report. Come on up. So we're gonna have Herb come up too?
Yeah. Good morning. Brian Herb, so he knows how everything's done. He's not scared of the process. This is my semi-annual report for September 5th, 2018. Start with the courthouse and grounds. New sinks have been installed in the boiler room. One for mopping and the other one for employees to utilize as needed. New carpet and paint was recently installed in the transportation office. Sheriff's office is voicing concern wanting barricades of some sort placed outside their office windows for security measures, so vehicles can't just plow into the office there, I guess. New heat pump in the road department secretary's office was installed, and I'm still waiting to hear about roof bids from Pillars. Burns Park, we're open year-round this year. Fiber companies coming into camp for, we've heard a possibility of 6 to 8 months. We've begun improving our sites to incorporate all frost-free water valves, which we've already completed, and to install 50-amp electrical outlets along with Wi-Fi. And we're in the process of the 50-amp right now. We just got the parts in, start putting them in, I guess as of today, he said. Still waiting again for the color consulting, which I talked to him last night, so I'm going to be meeting with Jeff Schott next week sometime about old issues. Have any questions about the Bird Park improvements or anything that we're... Shetler Industrial Park. The water samples have all still been cleaned this year. We did have to do, replace some internal parts of the pump house, electrical components, and alarm system recently, so we had to put some money into that, but it's all working good now. I guess 7 to 10 years seems to be the time when a lot of things start happening. The prune took out and removed a bunch of juniper this summer that was getting out of control of the wheat lab and in front of Cargill with the help of the OYCC. I utilized them for a couple days. So it looks a lot more cleaned up down there. And they're happy in front of Cargill because it's not a road and insect issue anymore. They just got out of control in front of the building. The library is cleaned and garbage taken out weekly. Back landscape yard's looking good, and I haven't been informed on what we're doing with the building, but just wanted to let you know that the sidewalk's still in bad shape, keeping that building back there on the side. Sweep it off, but it's just crumbly gravel. Not much you can do with it. So you guys decide what you're going to do with it. That whole back area. Senior transportation driving, I'm driving with them sporadically, probably still averaging probably twice a month. Not very much during the summer, which is good. Seems to do about 2 or 3 times a month. And side note, the new employee's working out well, which is heard, and is doing a great job in her department. That's kind of the highlights of what's going on with us.
So Darryl, are there anything, I guess, that you, foresee in the future that needs to be accomplished?
Well, the roof on Courthouse, sidewalk, has been kind of scaling back. We've been watching that. It's probably going to need resurfaced at some point in the next few years. The one set of front steps looks like a pretty good shape, but the other side that they had redone, ironically, the side that we weren't happy with that they redone is the one that's all scaling back now. I can see that in the future. For right in here, at the park, we really need improvements at the pavilion. I've talked about maybe before, lighting, a handicap ramp and rail installed, new safety area, things like that. And the courthouse, with the heating cooling system, which is our biggest expense, which is pretty much making it work. And the boiler that we got last year obviously should be good for quite a few years. Cooling tower and pump that just, it's expensive. We just make it work.
So didn't we talk about the sidewalk at the pavilion and say, let's go ahead and get that done?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, specifically the ramp on the south
Right.
end of the
Yeah,
pavilion.
I tried contacting about 4 people and they never didn't want to come out to Condon and just do that job. So,
I see.
I thought we were thinking about the road department.
It seemed-
The whole
Just-
job?
So just to get rid of that sidewalk.
I think we're talking about.
We're talking about
Oh, I'm
state
sorry.
building, yeah.
We're talking about up into Burns
So
Park.
up at Burns Park, we had somebody trip and
I didn't think
I
about the sidewalk.
I painted the steps really well, yellow, but you could use either a ramp or a railing on there anyway. But a side note, we did install sidewalks, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years ago, that go to the back or front side, whatever you want to call it, to the north of the pavilion, and there is wheelchair access there, so they can use that.
Yeah.
But we still like to at least put one out.
Right, I think the discussion was, do we need wheelchair access ramps on both the north and south side of the building? It was the north side, or the south side, that the person tripped and fell. Right now, the handicap parking is on the south side of the building, and for them to get to the handicap access, they go all the way around the pavilion and then come up on what would be the north side. I think it was done that way because of space, I would assume, And it seems to me like we had made the decision that, go ahead and pouring the ramp on the south side was the way to go, but we got to get somebody who would do it.
I was thinking with Sandy last week before I left that the construction going with the state building there, I see they haven't poured their steps yet, maybe a chance, but like that. Who's running that? Is it Robinson Construction?
No, it's Griffin.
Griffin. See if.
You gotta get the microphone close.
Oh, I'm sorry, to do an add-on job, if they're gonna pouring concrete here, that'd be just an easy little job across town.
So what would be I mean, right now, it appears as if he has reached out,
So as
Public
long
contracting
as,
rules.
yes, so for construction, public improvement contracts, if it's below 100,000.
okay.
I'm sure it's probably under $3,000 job. It's a pretty small job. It's just a matter of getting somebody to do a small job like that.
Well, right now, we're waiting on Pillar to give us an idea on this.
Well, not on that one. Well, I was going to include that since I was going to talk to him anyway. But if you want to get something done quicker, I mean, I'm waiting a year for this, so if you want to get something done quicker, I'm thinking to speak to someone else and just get at least that part done for the ramp. Don't worry about the ramp.
So on a $3,000 job, then it's fine. Just find someone to do it.
Okay, so I guess,
Apparently, we didn't look at the whole picture when we did the other ramp
yeah,
and the handicap parking. If we put one at one end of the building and the other at the other end, it doesn't look like it was well planned.
yeah.
So I think.
Yeah, if I remember at the time, I think it was, we had somebody, maybe it was during the sidewalk construction, and we had the extra concrete, they owed us, and so we said, hey, let's put some concrete out here for people to park if they need to, so.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
Okay. All right, any further questions for Darryl?
Well, now I'm back to the sidewalk, the other sidewalk. The
Okay.
sidewalk by the, back behind the library.
Mhm.
Did we talk about having the road department get rid of that? We could clear that out until we decided what we were gonna do with the building and stuff. Is that a possibility?
Then we moved forward with talking about the demolition of the building. And,
But we didn't decide anything on that.
well, that's,
Yeah, it's really kind of a difficult call on, I suppose if we tear out what is there, my concern is we'll just need laid gravel back down there, which is not much different than what we have right now. As far as, I guess it's a little bit better of a safety concern, but I don't know.
So
Jeff Shaw, when he talked about it, actually advocated against turning it to gravel, that would be less good as far as ADA access and those sorts of things. So he suggested that the court not turn it into gravel for the sidewalk.
the other concern right there right now is there's a lot of puncture buying along that sidewalk, along that building.
Okay.
What are we doing about that?
Well, I sprayed a couple times by hand and pulled a bunch, probably about a month ago. So yeah, I can go check that out again, I guess, but
I mean, these things are huge, blooming big time.
really, okay.
Yeah.
I just drove by it, I didn't notice them, but.
Okay. Well, yeah, we definitely need to get that taken care of. So as far as the sidewalk goes, I really think that we need to, I guess we could bring Jeff into our next meeting and discuss what might be our best alternative. I thought he'd kind of given us a report that,
Yeah, I thought we had something
yeah.
on the demolition, and that would be included in the demolition.
Right.
Yeah, I thought we already had something on that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we just
do.
need to.
Make the decision of what it is that we were wanting to do with it. Well, we can put that on our next agenda and move forward with it. Okay. All right. No further questions for him? Okay.
So you're going to talk about the building itself or just the sidewalk?
I think we'll talk about the building itself, everything that is there. Perhaps we can get Jeff here to go through it. All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Okay, we have a couple of things that I can take care of, I guess, real quickly here before 10:30. We've got item 2.3, it's the Arlington Child Care's request for funds. It was budgeted to give the child care $76,500 through the SIP discretionary line item. That was decided at budget time.
I move that we release $76,500 to Arlington's child care for the 2018-19 fiscal year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to release to the Arlington Child Care $76,500 that was approved during the 2018-19 fiscal year budget. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, right in the same vein, 2.4, we've got the public library request for the release of budgeted funds.
20,000.
That was 20,000. Okay.
20,000.
20,000.
I move that we release $20,000 to the Arlington Public Library for the 2018-19 fiscal year.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to release to the Arlington Library $20,000 from the 2018-19 fiscal year. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We also, item number 2.5, we want to get into, this is the memorandum of understanding. This is, it develops a economic development planning, LCD, or LCDC has made available roughly $300,000 for, how shall I say, for small counties, those that had zero population growth in the last, I guess it's a 10-year period of time, since 2008, 2009, to do an economic analysis of the county and determine whether, I think the goal is to look and see whether a change in land use laws would develop a better opportunity for economic development within the counties. It's really, it is it's part of negotiations that had gone on with the LCD and the smaller counties to take a hard look at, what is preventing the smaller counties from actually looking to grow economically. The request is for, there was no certain amount of funds that was back in April, I believe. I think it was in April. DLCD came and met with city representatives and county representatives, and then the group decided that this was something to look into doing, and Rachel put in the application, and now it's to the point of creating this MOU. Do you guys remember any of this conversation that we had? Yeah.
What I received here is only half the memorandum. I only have the odd pages.
I was wondering why it
You
went
did-
right into task 2, and then it did look
Yeah,
like.
it was the same way. I noticed that this morning.
And then, yeah, the city of Condon didn't have a signature page.
Right. Yeah, I guess that's when I realized that I was missing something, when I didn't see enough signatures.
I just noticed it this morning, to be honest.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, none of this money really comes to our county. It's going to Anderson and Perry Associates, this is an engineering firm. I mean, maybe they do economic analysis too, but to me, it's a waste of money.
Well,
In a lot of ways.
that
But this is money that somebody else is gonna spend.
yeah. to
We
do
may
an
learn a little bit
analysis.
from it,
We could.
but I think it's gonna be something that goes up on the shelf.
Odd you should,
The amount, the participation of our, of the county itself looks fairly minimal, but, it talks about deliverables and in the mouth, in the part that I've read anyway.
yeah.
So, I mean, I look at part of our Gilliam County strategic plan, I mean, they could lift a bunch of it out, or update it.
Mhm.
We'd probably learn just as much. And end up with something that's usable.
Right, and I met with Jim Rue, the director of Department of DLCD, last Thursday, and had virtually the same conversation with him, that, to be perfectly honest, it would have been much better off for us to utilize maybe an economic firm, or a firm to do the economic analysis that maybe we're already working with. The Korea organization is working with Evergreen, I think it is, Ruben, you're probably familiar, and doing kind of the same thing. It would just be allowed to be expanded, and I just felt that the money could come directly to the county for us to select who it is. And, with Jim, I laid it out on the line. I said, look, to me, it looks like a way for DLCD to come back and say, hey, you don't have a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, I felt, that it was kind of a moot point, but it was their money, they were putting it together, they've selected who it's going to be.
Well, I think it was
I think we
looking
can-
for there's a lot of politics involved in this. You don't see right here.
There certainly was.
It's good, it's there to make, we came
There certainly was.
to help you.
Yeah, basically what the small counties have done is collaborated together to look at changes in Senate Bill 100. And this had been going on for roughly a year and a half. Lots of discussions in around it.
Yeah.
And this was I guess, negotiations that created this type of opportunity. I'm just not sure that it's going to be all that effective. But I've laid it out, I've given my piece on it.
Yeah.
And I can't disagree with you at all. It's definitely upset me that they picked the organization that's going to do the.
Yeah.
But it basically is something that even though we don't have all the pages here.
It also talks about Sherman County in this.
Yeah.
MOU.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah.
So have the cities decided anything? Have the cities seen this?
Yeah, well, yeah, this really is, the cities are part of this, but this is really a county project, and this agreement will be with the county. The representation that the city has will be.
It sounds more like it's city, and we're just kind of
We're just sort of the
overall player, but there's where all the action is.
Exactly.
With the cities, so.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're signing off on the back pages of this.
Right.
City of Arlington, City of Monroe.
Yeah, that they're kind of signing off that they'll, we are too, that we're going to supply deliverables and information to them.
Right. And for right now, yeah, it's kind of hard to sign off of if you don't have the document.
Yeah, I did. I realized, I saw that this morning, and I didn't even get to, Sandy was up here dealing with some other issues, but I had seen it before.
before. I had seen the whole thing, so,
Yeah.
it was really, what was there was more fresher to me than it was then.
And is there some deadline for getting signed up?
There wasn't. We could table this until the next meeting.
I think
Yeah, that's appropriate.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Get the information out.
Sorry about that. We were working on something else this morning when I noticed it, so.
Okay. We'll table that until the next meeting. Okay, we're at 10:30. The next item that we have on the agenda is to consider the request for county drought declaration. I see Christina and Herb are here. Yes, go ahead and have you guys come on up. Chris Fitzsimmons. Let's give us a quick rundown of how we are. So, why don't you go ahead, get started, I guess.
For the record, Herb Winters. Basically wanted to come to court and chat with folks about the current drought situation in Gilliam County. Sorry. So we just want to chat with you about the drought situation in Gilliam County. We supplied some information to court, just some key points that we wanted to address were we have the U.S. Drought Monitor, a handful of maps. It has Gilliam County currently as just D2 moderate drought, U1. And it hasn't been updated recently. It will happen this Thursday, but current conditions, if you're looking at, we had all those wildfires, the John Day River is at record lows, have going back 40 years. The water master is having to shut people off on the river, which hasn't happened for over 40 years. So just wanted the court to consider declaring a drought. If you had any questions about the information we supplied, just let me know, please.
So one of the reasons it's important, for the record, Christina Kerwin, Gilliam SWCD, one of the reasons it's important for us to begin this process at the county level and move up to the state level is it will allow our local producers, farmers and ranchers to seek drought assistance, financial assistance from NRCS and FSA, the Farm Service Agency. So it's helpful in a practical way as well.
Okay. So Christina, when the contiguous county situation, were we not already in that position to receive those funds that you just talked about?
You mean through I think you guys, there's like a cooperative agreement or something
Yeah, well,
with the other counties. So each county has to have the governor declare that county individually.
Okay.
So there are some resources that come with your neighboring counties declaring, but in my understanding, in order to get our full benefits, we need to declare as Gilliam County and have a governor specify Gilliam County in that. We are expecting the drought monitor to increase us to a D2. I know that we've had several people coming into the office, and actually people are reaching out to the person who is in charge of the drought monitor for Oregon. It's an NRCS employee, because it's, if you look at it based in early August, we're kind of sitting in this little pocket. Like everyone else is in a D2. I think Southern Oregon has recently been upgraded to a D3. I know like in kind of Falls area. It's just getting drier. Our forecast, we're not having a lot of precipitation of any kind in the forecast. I know that Ken Teeman, our water master, also submitted some documentation along with this draft request to Chris, because he's also extremely concerned. He's out there measuring the streams on the ground, and we're just seeing really no surface flow at all. So,
See, the contiguous is part of the SBA stuff, so.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was small business already came out with that, and they considered us as contiguous for the SBA loans,
Okay.
but not for the stuff that they're actually trying to get covered.
All right, thank you for clarifying.
I didn't catch that.
The SBA, the Small Business Administration, they came out with a loan program that covered the counties that have already declared and covered contiguous counties. So Small Business Administration is what he was referring to on the contiguous side.
Okay. All right.
So, where do the grain yields that we just harvested come into this equation in terms of this? I don't see anything with that. I mean, I've heard some pretty good yields this year. And so I'm wondering how that fits into this picture.
so I'm not a farmer, but I would assume that your grain yields were based on last year's precipitation. And so we did not have a drought. We were not in a drought year last year when those crops were receiving rainfall. And from my understanding, and I'm not an expert in this, but we had extremely low snowpacks for this year, which would be what our upcoming year would be based on. So we're looking at this upcoming crop year that will be suffering.
Right.
You
Okay.
would be much more, you would be much better versed in that than I would, but that's my understanding.
Okay.
Is that we're looking at our upcoming year and where we're at right now.
That is critical, because, yeah, what I'm seeing for me is, yeah, it looks pretty serious for my next year.
Yeah,
Stop.
and I think that we should also take into consideration the fact that we had so many acres burned, which removed, which has left us with bare ground, which is not going to hold the moisture like ground that has any kind of biomass in it would. And so that's going to exacerbate our problem.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add is that for the next 3 months, like going out through October, they're forecasting that the drought is going to persist. So we're not going to see any sort of precipitation or lower temperatures. It's only going to get worse.
Okay. Any further questions for him? Yeah, I didn't have anything else. Discussion on this, I guess, entertain a motion to open discussion.
Okay, we're talking about the resolution now?
Yeah.
Oh,
We have a resolution.
It's on the back. I move the resolution 2813 declaring a state of drought emergency in Gilliam County.
I'll second.
Okay. And I assume the motion is to approve resolution.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's been moved to approve resolution number 2018-13, a resolution declaring a state of drought emergency in Gilliam County. Any further discussion on this?
I agree on the biggest effects right now are those with the livestock because of the grazing and rangeland part of it. It's that's pretty evident. And water for them too. I mean, having the whole water or whatever, just to maintain livestock, so.
A little over 54,000 acres burned of, a lot of grazing land that just disappeared. So, and then on top of it, now whatever moisture we do get could end up really washing away as opposed to having foliage there to keep our biomass.
Okay. All those in favor? Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Right, thank you, Tim. Appreciate it. Okay. Okay, so we have item 1.5 is to consider the approval of the Fairgrounds lease. It's the agreement with the Robinson Brothers Construction Company. We do have Chris Fitzsimmons here. I believe Ruben did draft or put together a.
So all I have is the resolution.
It should be the next thing in your packet.
You should see a map there.
I had that last time.
Oh,
We
because
get it.
it just came in, so it was sitting on your table when you walked in. It just came in yesterday. It was,
Basically, it's the same one as the last time, except for item 1B. I spoke to the weed director, and basically, all he wanted, item 1B, what he wanted to see was a policy so that material and equipment is clean coming into the county, clean going out of the county, or out of the fairgrounds before it goes out into the field to do the work. So I just put in that all materials and equipment need to be cleaned prior to entering Gilliam County and before they're removed from the leased premises. So if they're going to a place with some weeds, they need to be cleaned before they're heading out onto the road in other areas of the county. The weed director wasn't terribly concerned because it was a Class B weed. It wasn't one of the ones that really gets their hackles up. But he did want to make sure that it's a clean in, clean out policy, which is consistent with the windmills.
Yeah.
And then they only spray there twice a year, once in the fall and once in the spring. So I added a clause that just says that we can access the premises for inspecting and spraying to prevent noxious weeds, because the fall spraying will be coming up, I believe, in November. So we do need access for that.
Okay.
And so that's the change that we made.
Might be a little difficult with lots of equipment spread around.
Yeah, that's
or
interesting
materials.
because they normally only spray once a year and it's in the spring.
Well,
So,
this year it was in June.
Yeah,
And so there might be an additional spray, but our lead director just wasn't terribly concerned about it, and said to go for it. The clean in, clean out policy was the big thing.
Yeah.
But if we need to get in there to spray, we can. That's,
Yeah, I think that's another important factor is, being able to get in there and deal with whatever issue gives us the opportunity to inspect and then, yeah.
So we would need to pass a resolution and then approve the lease.
yes, or approve the lease and pass the resolution, either way.
Well, I would move we adopt resolution number 2018-12 to authorize lease agreement between Gilliam County and Robinson Brothers Construction.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution number 2018-12 to authorize the lease agreement between Gilliam County and Robinson Brothers Construction. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Right. Now, we do have a lease agreement that I believe the Fair Board has, you guys are, okay, so you've vetted, gone through all the things that you need to do. So, entertain a motion to approve the lease.
So I move we approve the lease of real property with Robinson Brothers Construction.
I think that's good.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the lease of real property with Robinson Brothers Construction. Any further discussion here? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Okay, we have another action item, it's item 2.6, and it's the service agreement with the rare student. The agreement is with, it's between the State Department of Land Conservation and Development, Gilliam County, Hood River County, and the University of Oregon. The parties agreed to amend the original agreement, and Chris is coming up to give us kind of a brief on this.
So I made contact with Nicolaya yesterday, and this amendment to the agreement is not for her. It's actually for the University of Oregon, the Oregon Partnership Disaster Resiliency Group, to continue to amend and fix any edits that need to be done to our plan, which is Michael Howard.
Okay.
So it's not Nicolaya, it's not Rare, it's actually the University of Oregon, and that's why that's in there. And
Okay.
so that they can stay on and make the changes for us through December 31st.
All right.
So that's what it's concerned.
Okay, so in other words, they probably received so much information, they're unable to get it accomplished in the time.
Well, it's been sent to OEM, but OEM continues to send University of Oregon, OPTR, changes that need to be made before it goes to FEMA.
Okay.
And Michael Howard is the one that's making those changes for us.
Okay. Okay.
But there's no other money or anything like that that has to be done. We already met our $1,000 match in kind through Nicolaya
Right.
when she was here this spring and summer, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have had the original here to look at that particular part of the agreement, so we knew what we were changing. That would have been really helpful on this.
As far as I know, it's just the date,
Yeah.
because it was
It
through
was.
August 31st.
Right.
No, wait. Yeah, it was
I think
August 31st, right. And so then they've extended it to December 31st to allow for the changes to occur and the edits.
Mhm.
So I move we approve Amendment 1 to the Rare 2017-28 Service Agreement number 26052 to make the effective date February 1st, 2018 to terminate December 31st, 2018.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the amendments. Amendment 1 to the Rare 2017-18 Service Agreement number 26052. The agreement to change the effective dates from February 1st, 2018 to December 31st, 2018. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Took care of that. Guess we have a few minutes here before we get into 11. We have a request to TransCanada for the new facility at Shuttle Station. It's item number 3.1. This is to request to TransCanada to supply possible natural gas services to the Shuttle Station Industrial Park. There was a Business Oregon puts out notices of businesses that are looking for specific criteria to possibly set their business up in the state. I had received the notice, Peter had received the notice. Commissioner Weatherall, did you receive it also?
Yes.
Okay. And so one of the requirements is that they receive, that they have natural gas services to wherever they set up their facility. So this is basically a request form to see what it would take for Gilliam County to have natural gas services supplied to the industrial park.
Where's page 2? Because this here doesn't say anything other than there's some names and addresses.
And
That's all it, I mean, what you said is twice as much as what I already knew.
yeah, and there isn't much more to it than this right here. This is the request form that you put into TransCanada.
Page 2 is just a signature,
Yeah.
no additional information.
Okay? This form really doesn't say, it doesn't tell us what's
yeah,
going on
It's
here.
just a starter place.
Right, it's, I guess, step one to try and get information. What's the name of it? I don't even know the name of the company that's inquiry.
And it's pretty much a wide open future expansion.
Yeah, the TransCanada.
Anticipated.
Yeah.
But this was requested by Peter.
Peter, yeah, he had talked to me about, this company that was interested, I think, I don't know anything other than what come across on Business Oregon. There was quite a bit of criteria that was involved with it. You had to show that there was a workforce within the area. You had to show that there was water, capabilities of water, which is huge.
I remember him talking about water being not adequate for some businesses.
Correct, yeah, and I think there's quite a bit to this. I don't remember power being an issue. Trying to find it, I think it's. Rail was another concern that they had. They needed rail, natural gas, water, a workforce that was available, that was power, but it basically, it's probably a reach, but
Yeah.
I think it might be nice to kind of find out what it might cost us to, get natural gas to the industrial park. It's basically a request, I guess, inquiry.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$5-6 million. Really, it's nothing more than trying to make sure that you guys are informed that this is being
Yeah.
done, or being done, so. Move on. Okay, we have item 3.2, which is a request from the library. This is the summer reading program that they put together.
It took me just a little bit to figure out what SRP
SRP
was.
was,
Acronyms.
yeah.
Yes.
Spell that out at least the first time.
Right. Basically, it's going to require us, which it's in the library's budget, $2,350. Portions of that are in kind.
And do we do this every year?
We have, yes, yeah, we have.
Well, it comes out of the library budget.
Yeah.
The match.
The match, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, since this is somewhat posthumous.
Yeah. I knew you would point that out. We got it to you as soon as we got it, yeah. It's dated the 27th of August. It's really for next year, but they try and get it spent as quickly as they can, I guess. So I guess need a motion to approve the grant submittal. It's really kind of an action item, I guess, really, yeah.
So I move we approve the grant submittal request from the Gilliam County Public Library, and the grant amount requested is $2,326, cash match of $2,350.
That is weird.
So the
Actually-
total estimated cost is $4,676.
Correct.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the grant submittal request from Gilliam County Public Library. Grant amount being $2,326, requiring a $2,350 cash match. Total estimate of the project costs, $4,676. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
But I think something we should do is send back to them a couple of these items, like, so they spell out what SRP is
Yeah.
for us,
Mhm.
and to make more effort to get this to the county court in a timely manner, or some explanation of why it isn't. So that we kind of move these grant things up to where we're approving them before they're submitted. I mean, that was the purpose of bringing them to us.
Mhm.
Maybe it should go out as an all-staff message.
Correct. Okay, yeah, I guess kind of one of those reminder things. Okay, we're down to 11 o'clock. We got the disposition of deficit disposition, getting rid of the property that the county foreclosed on at 221 North Potter. We did receive notification from the sheriff in regards to the lack of cleanup of the property. We did send a maintenance crew up there to trim the grass, the weeds, so on and so forth. Commissioner Weimer, you had mentioned puncture vine. It's all over up there. It's rampant in that particular place. That needs to be taken care of. I think, one time we did discuss moving this to a sheriff's sale. One of the things that we discussed was something very similar to what we did with the property that we sold to an individual by the name of Steve Watson, of which Will had drafted a contract with them to basically give them so much time to be able to clean up the property, get it to the point to where it was no longer a nuisance, and move it in the right direction of somebody choosing to either remodel or sell.
When you do that, I can dig up that agreement.
Yeah,
We want to do something along similar lines.
I think it would be, that's kind of what we had agreed to, so really, I think now what we're looking for is, commission to give instructions for a sheriff's sale, with these stipulations. So if we're all in agreement, I don't believe we need a motion on this, we just, consensus will be enough to move us to have Ruben draft a.
Correct,
Right.
yeah. I'll just start things going, and then when there's a concrete agreement for you to
Yeah.
consider, then we'll do formal motions.
Right.
So, I don't understand, what was the name, please, of the previous property?
It was Steve Watson. I don't remember the address of the property.
Ruben, I have it, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I have a question on this property? This property was brought up to before about the housing study. Has been any consideration been given to donating this to, seeing if Pioneer CDC is interested in this piece of property to use it in the housing project?
I did have a conversation with Rob about that, and they were not interested at all in taking over property, at least until it got to the point where it was cleaned up or something done with it. They didn't want to have to bear those costs.
Okay.
First, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think would be the timeline on this? I mean, before it gets to a sheriff's sale?
I believe, if Ruben can find the agreement that we had, I think at our next board meeting, we can probably, the 19th of September, possibly get it on the agenda to
Get it
move forward.
approved, and then we'll have to have some sort of a publication. I'm sure there's a publication requirement that'll be a few weeks or 30 days or whatnot. I'll have to check the statute on it.
Okay.
Just-
The only reason I ask is the property next door, we're with the city trying to get it cleaned up. And this property is in as bad a shape as the property we're trying to get abated. So it's a health and safety hazard because the buildings aren't closed, those back buildings, and the place is just plumb full of junk. So we got rodent activity and different things in there, so.
Yeah, the property next door is owned by somebody else. I don't know what the condition of the taxes are on that right now.
Yeah, it's just a cleanup deal.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to work with you on getting some nuisance notices out there and get the property owner, hopefully get their attention.
Yeah, that's being dealt with the city attorney.
Yeah.
But, the only advantage is the county property has actually given us access to the backside of this property, so.
Yeah. Well, if you look at the map there, it would be. It's actually in much worse condition than it's actually showing here on the map. I mean.
Is it the south of it?
Yeah, it's south of it.
No.
So,
Now,
in the picture that we have, Gary, it really looks like there's very little park there. And to let you two know, I believe there's 2 motorhomes, 1 trailer house.
Well, that's on the adjoining property.
Yeah, and looking at the picture here that we have, that piece of property to the south of it looks empty.
Yeah, but I'm just referring to the county property, the health and safety hazard.
Correct.
And ordinance violations that it's currently in.
Yeah. Yeah. It's our duty to clean it up, so get something done. So if we put this up for a sheriff's sale and with the stipulations that we did with the previous house, with that, what kind of time frame are we looking at from you before you begin finding us?
Well, by Sydney ordinance, you have 15 days from notification, so.
Okay.
But I think if, as we've done with other property owners, if it's in the works to be done, we work with the property owners to get it cleaned up before enforcement action. I feel funny sitting here saying that, but that is kind of how all the other property owners are being dealt with.
Looking at this Gilliam County property summary report, I find the disclaimer a little difficult to defend. And that may be something that we may want to, this is coming from the assessor's office.
Right.
And having read that, I can't see how we can defend all that disclaimer. Yeah. I mean, that makes this piece of paper worthless, is what it basically tells you. You can't believe a word of what's on this. And I think that's pretty ridiculous. And, anyway, I just point that out as kind of an aside. We're looking at that in terms of trying to decide like our minimum bids and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, it gets,
Well, it is somewhat of a buyer beware.
so,
But really, if you're purchasing real property or there's any sort of a transaction, that's why you go to a title company to get someone who's going to sign off on this and guarantee what's on there.
but this one's saying that the work that the assessor's office did is not necessarily right. I mean, if it's not right, I mean, what can you, I mean, that part just seems to be.
It's right, you just can't rely on it.
Yeah. That's, so the last time that we talked about this, I think we put a minimum bid on it. I think it was $17,000, if I remember right.
On this property?
On this property. And I think that was, you know,
We better research that too, that's quite a while back.
yeah, that was. Yeah, the goal, I mean, when we first began doing that was about the same time that we were running into the PCDC request for, you know, for funds to put together the housing project, and the instruction was to check with the PCDC as to whether they were interested in it.
Yeah. So that's also part of what we need to be
Well,
figured out at our next meeting if it's going to be put out for bid.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that would be good. According to this, we can't believe anything on this page.
Well, yeah, I guess, can we draft a document without having any idea what our minimum bid would be on this? Or just fill in the blank when the time comes, I guess?
Sure, either
Okay,
way.
all right.
I mean, this is, the way I read this disclaimer, Commissioner Weimer has a good point, and it is very thorough as a disclaimer.
Right.
But it's more that you just, it's not to be relied on when structuring your standard real estate transaction where you're selling something for top dollar, there's title assurances, things like that, because there might be a typo or whatnot, and we're not going to be responsible for a typo when that's really what a title company does, is make sure that their assurances are in and that, and you're paying money for that service.
But assessed values are listed on here,
Yeah.
you know, and if we
Correct.
can't believe what's on here, you know,
So,
I'd take you to court, you know.
well,
That's why there's a disclaimer.
yeah, exactly. But I think it will be part of my checklist to check in with Chet to make sure that we're feeling the real numbers.
Yeah. Okay, so, well, I think we could draft something and plug in numbers.
Yeah, I think we need some of that information that we had from previous in terms of what we were talking about. You know, bring that back to us.
I would like to add that this is not really a desirable property because of the cost of cleanup. I mean, that's gonna take, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 just to clean it up if somebody did it themselves. If the county had to do it, it would be more than that probably, so. There's a lot of junk there.
And Darryl did go take a look at the building, and he has some concerns with the roof, that it's leaking and sagging.
It's kind of, I had, Darryl went and looked at the property, Assessor Chet Wilkins went and looked at the property, and with Darryl's assessment of it was demolition was the only alternative. With Chet's assessment, it was bones of the structure were good and solid.
Right.
So that was some time ago. Okay. So we have some correspondence for, we have a public hearing at 11:30, so I guess we also have the minutes. Which one do you want to tackle? Correspondence, minutes?
Okay.
Let's do minutes. We have the minutes from August 15th.
I found some typos, but I talked to Sandy yesterday, and I think those have all been cleared up, and there wasn't anything substantial. It was just little typos, and that was about all I saw.
Yeah, well, I guess I found a couple, but
One point I think needs to be, we need to do with our minutes is when a member is not present, it needs to be noted at the time of when they do arrive, if they're not there, so that it fits into the minutes. I wasn't here at the beginning, and neither was Ruben. And those points should be made what time you do come in.
I see.
Yeah.
One that I had it was really on page 2. It's what would be the 4th paragraph down. It basically says the inquiries have been forwarded to Thompson Brothers. It's either sent forward to Thompson Brothers Construction or forwarded to Thompson.
Oh,
Brothers.
and I told Sandy about that,
Yeah,
forwarded. Yeah.
Okay, that was corrected. And then there was another one on page 19. This one I feel is, it's in the 2nd paragraph, and it's in regards to the Lori Bartolome testimony.
We fixed that one too.
It
Yeah.
does not. Yeah.
It says, she said that Heritage Lane doesn't wash out, and she said that it does wash out.
Yeah.
So,
We got that one.
yeah.
So another point in this, these people stated their addresses, and when they stated their name, and I think that should be included in the minutes, what their addresses.
Oh, okay.
The other point that I think needs to be taken into consideration is that at the end of what we adjourned, we should have 2 sets of minutes here. We adjourned our regular meeting and then had a hearing as a separate meeting. And we put these together as one set of minutes.
Okay, well,
I don't think it's been done that way in the past. I think it's been in a single document, but could be wrong about that.
I mean, it's not included as a regular agenda item on our agenda, and the judge stated at the end of our regular part, he adjourned the meeting.
Yeah, I did state that we adjourned the,
Yeah, it was two separate agendas? Was it two separate
I don't
agendas?
remember it being two separate agendas, though.
It was
I
at
mean,
the
I
bottom
remember
of
we
the
had.
agenda.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the agenda, it said the hearing will start at 2 PM, but it's not listed as part of the agenda items either. That's why I took it as a separate set of minutes.
And you're, okay.
You could do it that way. I mean, it's not, my main concern is just that we're reporting what's there, what happened.
Well, what was reported, yeah, he stated we adjourned the meeting.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did state that we adjourned the regular meeting of the Gilliam County Court.
So
And the way the agenda was laid out, it was laid out as a separate meeting too. Whereas you see today in our agenda of the hearing is as an item of our agenda.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm wondering then too, if they do want it to be two separate minutes, that last little paragraph
Yes.
at the end of the hearing should be.
Moved up to the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, you know,
That sounds okay to me.
Do we need to do that with the August 15th minutes? We probably should. Is that what you're saying, Commissioner Weimer?
That's
Okay.
the ones we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, okay. So I guess we can bring them back to the next.
We gotta approve them as we.
Okay, so I'm
amend.
saying, but in the future, you would like to see it done. In the future, you would like to see it done differently than what we actually, okay.
No, all right, no, I'm
We'll
just trying
do
to,
these.
I'm just trying to get the minutes done as
Okay.
we
Corrected.
carried it out.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
So-
today's hearing is
okay,
fine.
I got it now, all right.
Yeah.
Let it sink in for a minute, too.
And this is rather unusual, but I actually have an issue regarding the minutes. On page 19, it says, "At this point, Reuben Cleveland clarified that his intent in stopping an earlier discussion regarding conflict of interest wasn't to prevent a discussion, but to stop a back and forth discussion between Brian Lease and Nick Kramer." I believe that what I said there, it wasn't to prevent him testifying as to the conflict of interest. I did want to stop a discussion because the back and forth was inappropriate.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I suggest that we change that, wasn't to prevent giving of testimony, but to stop.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
So do we need a motion just to approve?
Yeah, to
them?
approve the minutes with the corrections.
Okay, I would move that we approve the August 15th regular court meeting minutes and the public hearing minutes, separated out as we've corrected.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the August 15th regular court meeting minutes and the August 15th public hearing minutes, separated as corrected. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We have some claims. So,
I move we approve the August claims pending review.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the August claims pending review. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so I'm gonna, I think we just don't have enough time, I don't think, to get into it. We have a couple of things, correspondence 3.43 and 3.44. The first one is a letter from Denny Newell. like, I guess I read it. Basically, he's thanking the Gilliam County Public Transportation. He's grateful that this type of service commends Marla and her crew. The work they could, he couldn't ask for more. He doesn't use the service often, but feels it's a excellent service. Also, we have a letter here from USDA. Basically, after reviewing, they said that we've overpaid the amount of $274.04. The next time that they ask to get an invoice, they want us to take $274.04.
I thought that was interesting. They can't credit, they can't
They
credit
can't,
us, they
yeah.
can't refund us, they just want us to subtract it off our next invoice. But,
And this is because of, this overpayment is because we made a mistake and gave them too much money, or they're just saying that's because they didn't provide the service of only, and it's only $274 of service they didn't provide?
Or they could bill us wrong.
Huh?
They could bill us wrong.
And that's exactly what happened, is I think they billed us wrong, and we ended up overpaying that amount.
So in other words, even though we didn't have a trapper, we still get charged the full amount.
Yeah, that's been...
Okay, that's the part I...
Very well put.
I'm glad this wasn't the amount they thought we were not served.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be a bad slap in the face in my book.
Yes, it would be a bad slap in the face. I couldn't agree more, so. So we do have a, well, why don't we, to be perfectly honest, we'll go ahead and start unless you guys want to take a break for a few minutes, I guess, until we start the public hearing and pick this up after lunch. We have these three letters that have basically come to us in regards to supplying high-speed broadband internet service. And I don't believe the public hearing is going to last very long. It's fairly short, and I think we'll be able to pick it up afterwards. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and recess for about 5 minutes. Okay, back in session here. We have a public hearing to consider the amendment of the Gilliam County Comprehensive Plan Goal 5 by adding the CRUM, ID number 874, and updating the Holzapfel, ID number 880, aggregate quarries on the inventory list and map. So, Michelle, I guess, we'll have you come on up. We do have information, I'm not sure, I don't have the map, but I'm not seeing it here. But
Should have went in your packet last Thursday.
okay. All right. Familiar where they're at.
Sorry, it's not the color one.
Yeah.
Good morning, Commissioner Weimer and Weatherall and Judge Schaefer. So today before you, you have a comprehensive plan amendment. And I'm first going to just preface by saying the state of Oregon established 19 statewide planning goals in 1973. The goals express the state's policy on land use and related topics such as citizen involvement, housing, and natural resources. Most of the goals are accompanied by guidelines on how the goals should be applied. The Oregon statewide goals are achieved through local comprehensive planning. State law requires each city and county to adopt a comprehensive plan, and the zoning and land division ordinances needed to put the plan into effect. That's why we're here today. With that said, Oregon statewide planning goal 5 is titled Natural Resources, Scenic and Historic Areas and Open Spaces. In the guidelines, it states the following resources shall be inventoried, which includes on the list mineral and aggregate resources. And there's several others on the list, but I just wanted to highlight why we're here today. It's for the inventory of the mineral and aggregate resource list. So, what we have before the county court is a list that outlines all of the adopted pits by the county court. And this was amended a year ago, August 2017, when we added 2 sites to the list. And now the list is being set forth to the county court today with 2 additional sites. One site is being upgraded or updated because the information on the site was not accurate. And then the other one, the site was not on the list. It was somehow omitted because, and I say that because the site has already received a previous conditional use permit, and the process they just went through with the County Planning Commission was to renew that existing conditional use permit. So somewhere in the process of time and inventory, that pit did not get on the list. Both of these pits, as was outlined in your packet, were already previously received conditional use permit from the county, and then they went through the renewal process this July. I was not here, as you know. We had a contractor staff person working on us that took the planning commission through the process of renewing those conditional use permits. The planning commission approved that and is now making a recommendation to the county court to add the sites to the list and update the sites on the list. And we had never created a map to correlate to that list. And so I had Tennyson create a map that correlates all those sites that are on the list on a map. So now we have 2 things that can match, and so people can see what the sites are. And both of these documents, if approved by the county court today via the ordinance, will be included in the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
Are there any questions for me?
Okay, I'm going to back up just a little bit here. Open this public hearing properly. Excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a time set aside for an advertised public hearing in the matter of ordinance number 2018-02, providing for the amendments to the Gilliam County Comprehensive Plan to add and update 2 aggregate resource sites, number 874 and number 880, to the Gilliam County Goal 5 inventory list of aggregate resources in compliance with the state of Oregon's planning Goal 5 and declaring an emergency. An important portion of why that can be sort of. This is a legislative hearing. All those in attendance that wish to testify are asked to sign the attendance sheet. We've given, the staff report has been given to us. We will move into public testimony. If we have no further questions of staff, we'll close the hearing, we'll deliberate, and then take action on this. So with the staff report that we've had, we do have a list going around of those who would like to testify.
Actually, some of this report we got is not readable.
It is a little bit difficult. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's really based on the document that you receive and being able to copy that. Yeah, that, although extensive and plenty of information here. Okay, we do have one person, and Candy, I wasn't sure whether, do you wish to testify, to speak?
Well, I'm here with Crum Ranches. Do you just have any questions about that rough pit? It was the one that was omitted, and I don't know why it was never.
Why it was.
I wasn't part of the company when it happened the first time.
Okay.
So we should note that she's appearing here in support of the
yeah.
Okay. Now, since I couldn't hear any of that.
Right. Cammy, you really need to come up to the, and if you could state your name and why you're here, and your name, address, that would be great.
Cammy Pepper with From Branches, 6837.
Get it a little closer, please.
Not even sure it's on.
It's not on. That might help too.
Batteries might die.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna give you mine, just while he switches.
Cammy Pepper with From Branches, 68375 Mortar Lane, Ione. I'm just here to answer any questions if you had any questions about our rock permit on 8 Mile.
Okay. So really, she's kind of a resource in case we have any questions about what's there. Really, and Michelle, if I remember right, this was an existing pit. It just did not get to the aggregate list.
Correct.
Yeah. So. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Cammy. I'm sorry to put you under pressure there. So, any further testimony, comments? Being none, we'll close this portion of the public hearing and move into deliberations. Basically, it's fairly simple. I mean, we're just adding what is there. And it's kind of correcting one mistake, and I mean, I'm not going to call it a mistake, but just an omission. And updating another. We do have a ordinance that's involved here, so did you guys get this?
Yes.
In that section 3 of the ordinance, it reads, "The county court finds that his ordinance, comma, is essential." I think that needs to be correct.
They did.
Yeah.
I saw, we got a new copy.
We got a new copy.
Oh.
Yeah, also this little parentheses was in the wrong place too. It looks like they caught
Okay.
both.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
It was set on, the corrected version was set
It was on your table when you came
on
in.
the table when you came in.
I saw that too.
Too many pieces of paper.
Yeah.
82 pages.
Yeah.
I didn't have any questions or
Yeah, it was, I mean,
issues.
right.
That's the only change in between these pages?
Yeah.
I mean, because I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
This is another one of those situations that we get this stuff, and then we gotta sit here and look through it.
Yeah,
This came in, the changes came in like an hour before court.
and it was just really to correct what, the parentheses, the commas, and.
What happened is Michelle did a great job in getting the meat and potatoes of this ordinance out in time for the packet, but it still had a few
Yeah.
things just to,
Right.
but substantively it's
The same.
Well, maybe when we get another copy of something, I don't know if even a Post-it note or highlighter or something
Something to let
that
us know.
says only changes.
Yeah.
I don't know. You ready for a motion?
I am, yeah.
I move to have the first reading of ordinance number 2018-02 by title only.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to have the first reading of ordinance number 2018-02 by title only. Any further discussion? There being one, let's see here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, I'm going to have Sandy read the first reading.
Ordinance number 2018-02. In the matter of an ordinance providing for amendments to the Gilliam County Comprehensive Plan to add, update 2 aggregate resource sites to the aggregate inventory list, county ID number 874 and number 880, to the Gilliam County inventory list of aggregate resource sites in compliance with State of Oregon Planning Goal 5 and declaring an emergency.
I move to accept the first reading by title only.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the first reading by title only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I move to have the second reading by title only.
I second it.
It's been moved and seconded to have the second reading by title only. Any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'll have Sandy have the second reading by title only.
Ordinance number 2018-02. In the matter of an ordinance providing for amendments to the Gilliam County Comprehensive Plan to add, update 2 aggregate resource sites to the aggregate inventory list, county ID number 874 and number 880, to the Gilliam County inventory list of aggregate resource sites in compliance with the State of Oregon Planning Goal 5 and declaring an emergency.
I move we accept the second reading by title only and adopt ordinance number 2018-02.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the reading by title only of this motion and then to approve, to adopt the ordinance number 2018-02. A lot of stuff. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, good. All right, that's it, right, Counselor?
That's it.
We're good, okay, all right. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Cammy. Okay, we're gonna move into, we've got people here, so it may take us a little bit longer than what we have, in case anybody has any questions. We received correspondence from Oregon Telephone to request funds for a broadband project. It's on telephone, traditional communications within Gilliam County. While Home Telephone has been improving broadband services to most of the patrons in the city of Condon, it still has a desire to improve these services in the outlying areas. HTC estimates that a fiber route to Mayville and Lone Rock will cost about $900,000, and they would like the county to contribute $475,000 to this bill. We have also a letter from Home Telephone here that they are interested in utilizing or acquiring assets that the county may divest itself of. It's their understanding that every once in a while we dispose of assets, and they would be interested in the assets that we have. I assume it's part of the 12 pair of fiber that we now own. We also received a letter from Columbia Basin Electric. They too are looking for financial assistance for their build throughout Gilliam County. Earlier this year, they had applied for financial assistance through the Gilliam County Special Projects, but were turned down due to size. They're curious to know what the process will be to apply for these funds. We don't want to know whether we have a form to fill out. They're asking to be placed on the agenda for discussion on this on September 19th.
What was the size of their request?
$785,000, which was 10% of their project of $7,875,000. know if that has changed since their original request, but that's what that was.
So Ruben kind of put together a request process, yeah, that we had at our last meeting. You know, I'm not sure where any of this might, I think it could be used for this sort of thing. But this is a little bit outside the realm of what it was that we were talking about when we began.
It is, and I mean, our grant agreement is more so to memorialize the terms that the court imposes on a grant. We don't have a formal procedure as to what, you know, the application process and exactly what grant funds are available for what particular projects, as far as I know.
No.
But it's, but we do have an agreement now so that we can define the parameters of grants if we choose to use it, to state what, just to write in exactly what funds will be used for and how reporting will happen and what line item the money's coming out of. But really, it's your call. It's still fairly open-ended in what requests you as a court want to consider. And I mean, that it seems to me that is your role as the court, is to determine what's a worthy project and what's going to do the most good for the money.
So neither of these are interested in the loan. They want grant money.
They want grant money. That's kind of what I mean, I have to go back to, you know, it was during special projects that we had to request from Columbia Basin Electric, which really there hasn't been anything that come forward with this other than what was in the grant request. And their goal was to deliver, you know, fiber to every home in Gilliam County.
And I believe it was over 5 years.
Yeah, right.
That project.
And then, of course, what we have here from Home Telephone, it's to a fiber route to Mayville and Lone Rock.
So they're not asking for the same thing? Or are they?
Well, I guess in a way, you couldn't get to, you know, any of the ranch homes without accomplishing, I guess, the bill to each one of the communities. I don't really, I mean, Home Telephone is not really talking about delivering outlying areas of Gilliam County.
I think stepping back to the reference of the Arlington TV co-op I think is a critical thing that we need to discuss, because in that case there, we were making a grant to it was a co-op, you know, but it was also, you know, it's a private entity. It's not a public entity, which these other items have been, these other grants on our special projects have all been going to like nonprofits and this, so other. At that point, there was discussion about whether another entity was interested in doing the project that Arlington TV Co-op did. And so I think that point right there, in terms of, do we want to continue with that precedent that we made there? Do we want to continue with that kind of grants to build our fiber program, which these two are asking for? And I think that's something that we really need to address, because most other businesses that we deal with, it's on a loan basis. We don't normally grant money. There may be some subsidy involved in those loans, and so I think that's something that I think needs to be addressed before we consider these requests.
Yeah. Yeah, what we have done, it's to nonprofits and other government agencies that we've sent the funds out to. And Arlington TV Co-op was a very unusual situation. And what we ended up doing was actually giving the money to the Port of Arlington to disperse under that basis to get. It wasn't just, I mean, it was fiber to the home there, or TV and phone service, those.
But in that particular case too, as I recall, the money we granted was not for the fiber going to the home, but it was for the head house and that, those, the equipment stuff that went into it. And so that was my understanding.
Yeah.
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 Because that, I had some reservations about granting money to take it into the individual homes.
So how much was the grant versus loan with the TV co-op?
Let's see, the grant was
about 3/4.
Yeah, I think it was 787,000.
That was the grant portion?
Yeah, that was, the grant was 787,000.
Sounds right.
And then the loan was 230,000, I believe.
But that came in later.
That came in later.
Right.
Yeah, but the
And that was
stipulations.
that was to replace a private loan too.
Correct. Yeah, the stipulation, what was put with the Arlington TV Co-op to be able to get the grant funds was that they had needed to go out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Ronquist, I think, but they needed to go out and get loans for, I think the original ask was $1.9 million, and they got it down to the purchase of, I think it was $1.6 million, but the 1.9, it was, they said they needed to go out and get the loan for the other $1.1 million. And so they got a $600,000 loan from the company, and then there was another $300,000 loan. And or no, it wasn't a loan, it was that they were going to lease the equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, lease from a company and with a 5-year buyout, and they would own the equipment at the end for $1 additional dollar.
So our grant was contingent
On
upon
them getting those.
them getting that other financing.
Right.
Right.
And then through, going through the request for proposals, the amount ended up coming down to, I think it was $1.6 million, and the need for the equipment was $230,000, and so that's when they came back to us for the loan, which instead of 5 years agreement that they had, and Leslie, do you remember that? I mean, I think you were on the court at that time. We extended it to 10 years, so anyway, it was a cash flow situation that really created some benefit for them to be able to,
Right. Lily started that, and then I finished up the paperwork.
Right.
But that was an exceptional circumstance.
Right, it was. So, anyway, it's now up and operating and going, and so, it's a benefit to us. I don't know, I guess, number one of the first things that we have to do is really decide because this is really outside what we normally do. Normally it would be a loan, if this is something that we want to accomplish, and that is getting high-speed broadband fiber service to every home in the county, then, I think we really need to, number one, determine whether that's something we want to do. Number two, whether, what procedures are we going to do in getting that accomplished. Obviously, one of the questions, one of the letters here coming from Home Telephone that talks about our assets, you know, we do have a procedure for that. I mean, you know, we declare them as being surplus and put it out for bid. You know, that to me is.
In our contracting code, there's requirements for us that we have to meet in order to do that. And depending on, yeah, we have to make a determination that this property is surplus and then go through the procedure that's in there to get rid of it or to sell it.
Right.
You can't just decide that it goes to X, Y, or Z.
Well, and talking about a possible grant to Oregon Telephone, I mean, they're a private corporation, so wouldn't we have to do like an RFP to put that out there to see if anybody else might be cheaper? Can we just grant money to a private?
Well, we wouldn't have to RFP it because we wouldn't actually be giving them money to build something for us or provide a good or a service to us. So it wouldn't technically be a procurement. The thing that would bother me would be just the court determining that this is an appropriate mechanism, that the grant mechanism is appropriate to give this money and that the purposes of it. And I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying that would be up to the court to make that determination.
I mean, it does seem like here, seeing the two different companies are definitely looking at something that is, they're both working, I mean, Columbia Basin wanted to have, they were talking about going to all their customers, and this would be, Home Telephone was talking about some of those customers, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know.
Can these two work together towards this, or are they just on, I mean, are they on opposite sides?
I don't know.
Or trying to do the same exact thing, so they wouldn't want to work together? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think under the, you know, I don't, what's really hard to tell with this is Columbia Basin Electric really, I think, is looking to become the tool that would allow a company to deliver the service. Does that make sense?
You mean like an ISP?
Like an ISP to deliver the service, where,
right.
You know, Home Telephone is already doing a lot of that stuff.
So they are an ISP?
So they are an ISP. There's what they call a local exchange carrier, ILEC, and an incumbent local exchange carrier, and then there's a community local exchange carrier, CLEC, and I believe they are a CLEC. I don't remember now. So anyway, there's two different ones. Laura, you had something to say?
I just wanted to say that our goal for Columbia Basin Electric, I'm Lori Anderson, I'm the director, is to facilitate fiber to the homes and to all of our customers, yes, but the funding that we're going to be asking for is strictly for that part of the project that is in Gilliam County.
Yeah.
So, but ours is to facilitate getting that fiber to the home. I can't speak on the other questions around that because I'm not the spokesperson for it, but I do know that that's our strategic plan, and that's what we've told the court before.
Okay. So I guess you'll have to, I'm not sure what facilitate would mean. Would that mean that you're actually going to build it and put it up and have the fiber?
We want to make sure that it happens, so we're there to do everything we can to make it happen. Now, if somehow tomorrow somebody came up and said, we're just doing it, that solves our problem. That solves our, you know, it accomplishes our strategic plan. So we've always been open to working with the parties that have all come to the table before, so.
Okay.
Good point to start.
Yeah, you know, yeah. This is, I think, going to be highly complicated, or could be highly complicated. You know, right now, I think, first of all, you know,
is there a need for us to get this accomplished within Gilliam County? What we're, obviously talking about here is whether fiber to every home, Gilliam County is something that we'd like to accomplish. So I guess I'm looking for a little bounce back on what you guys feel our next step ought to be with this. I got it. One of the things that I think we're probably going to, in a short period of time, we had 12 pair of fiber,
Right.
of which, once it gets in, I know that, Frontier Telnet is going to be looking at something that connects it to the digital switch in the 911 center. That's going to be something that's really important. I assume maybe one pair is, there hasn't been any discussion on what that need will be.
Right.
I think initially the discussion of putting fiber into Gilliam County all started with wanting to get that accomplished. So I know that there will be that request. So that will leave us with 10 pair. That's 20 fibers that I don't know, but I don't have any plan. And if you guys run into anything, I think it's something we should move forward. Okay. Anything more you want to discuss in this? No? Okay.
So for this upcoming meeting, do you guys want to continue the county's discussion, or do you want to have these people come talk to you? Or do you want them to come talk, or do you guys want to decide if this is a priority for the county first?
I still feel we need to kind of settle this idea of private use of public funds. I think that's really, I mean, that maybe they can be part of that discussion to help us frame this. What we should have for policy. Because they might have some ideas that make it, make sense for it, possibly. But if they're individual projects, may not necessarily be the discussion. It isn't like we're going to be asking them to make a decision on exactly what they want to do at that point. It may give us ideas in terms of framing it.
Okay. Okay. So I guess what I'm hearing is maybe at the next meeting, invite both of these entities to have this conversation, or do we want to have a conversation?
Or are we ready for that yet?
Yeah, are we ready for that? Columbia Basin is asked to, if they would like, they have a request to be placed on the Gilliam County Court agenda under discussion items for the September 19th County Court session. And we can put them on there. It is a request, but I'm not sure that we're ready to have that discussion. Do we?
We'll hear what they have to say, and then.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, we also have something from Home Telephone, or Oregon Telephone. Do we ask them to come in for the same thing at the next meeting?
You have one committee.
Need to have both. Are we ready for that too?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we'll have both, we'll invite both to our September 19th meeting. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll send we'll respond back to Mr. Vaught here.
Maybe just let them know that you're still at the fork in the road where you're not sure that this is something
So let's, at that point, let's recess for lunch. Open, come out of recess for the Gilliam County Court. It's now 1:02. The next item we have on our agenda is the summer intern reports. You see we have a couple of individuals out here in the audience. We also have a video. So if you guys wouldn't mind coming on up, we'll have you introduce yourselves. No, both of you. Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and have you introduce yourselves, then we'll watch the video, and then we'll come back to you guys, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Sure. My name is Connor Cunningham. I interned at Gilliam County Water and Soil Conservation District this summer.
And I'm Andrew Fraynell, and I interned for the second year in a row at Arlington TV Co-op, obviously Arlington.
Okay, and then on the video we have...
This is Hannah Davidson, who isn't able to be here because I think she's in North Carolina or something. Yep. So here's her quick report.
Hello, my name is Hannah Davidson, and I'm here today to talk about my internship at the Arlington Medical Center. First, I want to thank the Gilliam County Court for all their support throughout my internship. I couldn't have done it without you, and I couldn't have done it without Mr. C either. He got this internship going for me, and it was an awesome experience, and I would definitely do it again if I could. But I'm actually going to start college this fall, which is next month, and I'm going to get my programs done so that the following year I could actually start my career in the medical field. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I started this internship. I knew I wanted to do something along the lines of nursing. I just wanted to help people. But this internship helped me learn so much about helping people and the medical field and what it takes, and it's so worth it. I just want to help people. I want to do that. And this definitely opened my eyes and was like, you want to do something in the medical field. And I do. I really want to do something in the medical field. I do not know yet what I want to do. I don't know if I want to do nursing or if I want to do something else, but I do want to go into the medical field. At the Arlington Medical Center, they do a bunch of stuff from billing to checking people in. It's a medical center. They do a bunch of stuff. And I got to do a little bit of everything. I got to clean in the mornings. When I got there, I went in around 7:30 in the mornings and I cleaned and made sure that everything was ready to go in the mornings. Some days I got to work in the office with Michelle, and I got to work as a front desk receptionist. Like, I got to do everything, and it was awesome. I also got to work alongside the nurse practitioner and be in the room when she took vital signs. It was awesome, and I got to learn so much from her. I also got to work at the ambulance hall with Tina Ferguson. I got to go on calls. I helped her with stuff around the ambulance hall. With the ambulance, I got to clean out the ambulance and make sure that it was stocked with everything that they needed. We checked medication. We did just about anything and everything. I also took a CPR class when I first got there and became CPR certified. I also helped out with the CPR class. And that was awesome. I helped along with Tina and Kathy, and it was an awesome time. And it's a long 6 hours, but it's fun and it's worth it. I got to do pretty much about everything, from fixing fences to cleaning to helping Dave with posters, making posters, to just about anything. It was awesome. It's not all medical. It's not, but a lot of it was, and it was awesome, and I wouldn't have changed anything about it. And I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity, because without you, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I cannot be there today. I am in North Carolina with my family. I had this planned for a year now, but I'm sorry I cannot make it. But thank you so much for this opportunity. It was amazing. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Good. All right, great. Andrew, you want to start or
Sure,
Connor?
I will start for you.
Okay.
Okay, so this year, last year we talked, I worked at the same place, but this year we're kind of more into the networking part instead of the setup. And so last year I worked a lot with setting up the company, getting everything prepped, that kind of work. This year was a lot more hands-on, just a different side of the company, I suppose. John and I would start at 8 in the morning and we would be outside or working on customers' houses from 8 until whenever we got done. Sometimes it would just get too hot outside and there's 3 of us. So, we're not going to try to kill ourselves out there in the heat. So we would call it quits, 2 or 3 o'clock and then work on the office parts. So I think I was there for installs. So running fiber underground or aerial, helping with that for probably 25 to 30 this summer, which is like a third of what's connected now. And so I got a lot of that experience and I can splice now, splicing the fibers. I got really good at that. It took me a good day to learn it. And then also I worked on getting public IP addresses for the co-op, which is needed for the ambulance hall, the cop shop, and just some other people around town. That way they don't have to worry about, it's called a strict NAT system in our network, which can just block some of your stuff.
Right.
And so public IP will let them do whatever they want with their stuff. And so that was all figured out. We got it all purchased and everything. And so that was another one of my projects. Yeah, it was just a lot of installs and that kind of work this summer. It was a lot of fun, I really enjoyed the splicing and I worked a lot with Mark.
Okay.
And because he's one of our board members and he volunteers every Wednesday and Thursday. And so it was nice having him.
Yeah.
And that's basically what we did over the summer, was just installs, digging holes, pulling fiber. Just a lot.
All the things involved with actually
Yeah,
doing
a
fiber
lot
to
of,
the home.
a lot of stuff you won't get in the class.
Right.
I had no idea about the fiber or how that works before.
Mm-hmm.
John taught me how to do that the first day. He said, this is the most important thing you'll need to know this summer, is splicing.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was like before, it's kind of scary going into people's houses and having to cut holes in their walls. Like it's a big thing. And by the end of the summer, John had enough confidence and so did I. So he'd go, here's your tools, go get started on the inside. I'll be out here. If you have any questions, just let me know. Or I'd be underneath the houses. That was probably my least favorite part. Crawling into the houses, pulling fiber around, but it's all part of the job. And when you're the skinniest one on
you
the
get elected
workforce,
first,
you get elected first to go
Yeah.
down there. So, yeah. It's just
3 things: skinny, young,
Yeah.
flexible.
Not really flexible, but I got long arms. I can reach out there. Yeah, so
Okay.
that was a lot of my experiences.
Good.
It was a lot of fun. I would do it again if possible.
Good. Awesome. Connor.
Like I said earlier, I worked at the Gilliam County Soil and Water Conservation. My experience is pretty much the complete opposite of Andrew's. Most of the time I was in the office, inputting data into databases and cleaning the storage closet. But the days that I was outside, we were taking transects of rangeland, and we'd find out what kind of species were in that area, what kind of ground it was on, rock or soil. Mm-hmm. And then we'd take all of that, put it into our database, and it would give us a number or an area that we can reference to schedule the burn that's coming up. Yeah, and towards the end, I got started with the drone program, helping them get set up. That was a pain. Getting it to talk to itself was really hard, but once we got it all set up, it's amazing what kind of 3D renders and pictures it can take.
You need an IT person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had a really good time this summer. My coworkers were amazing and funny. I touched base into ArcGIS. It's like Google Maps for biologists and mappers, basically. And that's another class that I'm going to need to take is ArcGIS 230, I think. And that definitely got my eyes a little bit focused on what I need to get done in that class.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Like I said, it was completely opposite.
Yeah, that was where Andrew was at.
Yeah, and as for like the hours part for me, I worked probably twice as much as Connor, if not 3 times as much.
Yeah.
And so, like the amount of grant money, in my opinion, I think it was just on the right spot. I worked over that just because as soon as summer started, I was there working, and I just worked day after day after day, and sometimes like the next week would start, and I'd have one day off and just start again because it was like we had a lot to get done in only a limited amount of time. So I think I was out of my grant first week of August.
Okay.
But, you know, a lot of people don't want to be working all summer long.
Right.
Which.
Were you one of those people?
Yeah, but I got my,
Okay.
you know, when your mom is the secretary, you kind of get tangled into working all summer long. So I have 2 weeks off now because I moved over to Ontario already.
Oh,
so I'm back for the day for this.
Okay.
So
all set for school to get.
Yeah, I'm all set for school, and you know, a lot of the classes for me they don't have a lot to do with fiber, just because the technology available at my school isn't all that new, I suppose. And so we're just doing a lot with Cat 5 and Cat 6, the basic. You know, this is a switch and that. And like, I was setting up switches with John, and we were just doing that kind of stuff. Like I set up a switch last year and wired the whole office.
Well, that's kind of part of what we're hoping this internship will be.
It's like
make it easier for you in the classroom and the lab.
I learned how to make a Cat 5 cable last summer, and then the first lab that we had at school was making a Cat 5 cable.
Okay.
I was done in like 3 minutes, and all my classmates took like an hour to make it.
Okay.
It's really easy to make, just you have to, it's difficult to bend them all the right way. There's kind of a technique to it. Yeah.
I know.
It can be a pain.
It is a pain.
Especially if the cable's old.
Not can be, it is.
You're pretty good at it when you wire a whole panel.
Did everything, yeah. So Connor, tell me, you're going to Oregon State?
No, Eastern.
Eastern Oregon, okay. So how did the work that you did really correlate with what you're looking to do in the classroom?
Well, my degree that I'm going for, there's 2 different ways I can go. You can go animal sciences, or you can go rangeland biology. This internship was kind of the rangeland biology part. Cottonwood last year was kind of in between because I was out on the river and helping trail build. But this year, I kind of focused on the rangeland biology. And I think, I'm currently going for the animal science, but I think I might transfer over to the biology because I really found, like, what's the right word? I found a really high interest for that because it's not something that's directly impacted right away. It's over time. And yeah, you can get a whole lot just out of these years, but you can get a whole lot more in the 10 years.
Connor was telling me about the drone deal and how he wants to hopefully go back next summer because he's really interested in that. He was just telling me on the way over here because he wants to be able to go fly those drones up.
I know, I think that would be the best part.
And I think it would be really cool to be able to see those renders after he gets those complete.
Yeah.
Because you could just do that every couple of years, every year, and you could just see how it changes. And that would be so helpful for the area.
Right. So tell me about the program. Sorry, but I guess I should check. But I'm really curious about the when you were working on the drone and the I guess the communication factor. Is that so? Can you tell me about that? I mean, is it communicating with you on, say, a cell phone, or how's that work? How does it work?
The actual drone, the drone comes with a controller that's usually directly connected to the drone. But in order to fly the drone, you have to have a tablet or smartphone that has an app on it. And for some reason, the drone wasn't talking to the controller, and the controller was talking to the tablet.
Okay.
So it was troubleshooting and best guessing on how to fix that, but there were informational videos.
Okay.
She just calls me.
Yeah.
I could have told you, I probably would have picked up under the house, hello?
Yeah. So when the drone is out there flying around shooting pictures and things like that, and it's storing it on
A micro SD card.
yeah,
Micro SD
card, and then when you get it down, you load that into a computer.
Yeah.
Do you have to put the pictures together? Does the program automatically?
The program that they use, it automatically compiles all the pictures, and you don't have to like highlight a certain location of where you took pictures. It's really kind of cool. You take a picture and then you upload it, and it automatically finds it. So it's like they already had pictures before, but we're just getting a deeper picture. And it was kind of cool. We drove out. I can't remember what the actual canyon is called, but we drove out this adobe house west, and the fire. We saw the fire line, and we saw how it all interacted with each other. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just to see the differences between Google Maps and recent. It's something else.
Yeah. Probably Armstrong Canyon. Is it Armstrong? Maybe not. I don't know. It's the only adobe house that I know of, so, yeah. Questions for these guys?
No, everything sounds great.
Well, it does. Yeah, I gotta be honest with you, I really like the program.
Yeah.
There's some disappointment in the very beginning, specifically for you, Connor, but, I think we worked it out. I think it did come up with a benefit for you. I hope. It sounded to me like today, just the way you were doing might have created a different path for you.
Yeah, I went in with a negative attitude in the first place because they told me I was going to be inside. And I don't like being inside generally.
The house is for me.
Yeah.
But once I realized what we were actually doing, how it'll affect everything, like you said, it gave me a different perspective.
Sure.
Yeah, it definitely sucked.
It's a great program, like, it's difficult finding jobs around the area. Most kids our age in Arlington, it's either you work at Waste, or you just don't really work, or you work on a ranch for the summer. And I'm not built for either of those.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have something that I actually have interest in,
Yeah.
and will help me in the future instead of just moving cattle around.
harvesting. I guess for me, that's the one thing that I do really like about this intern program that we have is it really shows the opportunities that, as you guys get your degrees, the opportunities of coming back here. And we do have places that you could work.
Yeah. John's trying to tangle me into coming back to work for him once I graduate.
There you go.
I told him, I don't know about that. You get some benefits going and maybe I'll come back.
Well, don't sell short these other jobs. If you have a good employer, you're going to learn skills that are applicable across the board.
Working with John, it's like I'm not a tools person or a handyman, so he goes, oh, hand me this, and I'm like, what? He goes, oh, of course you don't know what that is, this right here. And he goes, you'll learn soon. And so I just learn all these different things, and it doesn't even have to do with technology, it's just a house problem. So like, I understand just more than I did before the summer.
Good.
And there's parts, obviously, you don't enjoy, like going into the houses.
Yeah.
There's one I went under, I brought a little stick with me, and I had cotton candy by the time I was done. It was so big with all the cobwebs. Thinking it's been down there for 6 or 7 years. It's a little gross.
Boy, can't handle that. Okay. All right. Unless you guys have something further, we're good. Thank you very much for being
Thank you so much again.
We greatly appreciate what you guys have done.
Yeah.
Hopefully you enjoyed your opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Andrew, Connor, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you guys.
Huh? I'm good here. Thank you.
I like the program. We have some adjustments we have to be able to make with it, but get those accomplished real quick.
Steve?
Yes?
Just out of interest, that kid was committed enough, Andrew, that he made a trip solely for this reporter
particular
from
meeting.
Ontario today, and
Right.
he's just going to turn around and go back.
Right.
I thought that was impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we're down to court member reports.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let you guys go first because I have quite a few things here to go over.
There we go.
Go ahead.
I went to a citizen advisory committee for Columbia Ridge landfill. And we had a lot of concerns to discuss within our committee. Fire, that was going to be brought up again, what's happening with the clinic, the article in the paper about mercury. We had a pretty good list of things we wanted to discuss. We were a little bit disappointed that management didn't really show up for the meeting, so no Alan, no Kip. The only person with the management crew really was Leah. So she tried to answer our questions, the best she could, but it would have been nice to have been able to speak with Alan and or Kip. The clinic was a major issue for the meeting. It was in the paper. It's recently been in the paper because it was a topic that came up at the Arlington City Council meeting. So there are a lot of residents that are very concerned about Waste Management pulling their business away from the Arlington Medical Center. I've been hearing about it a lot from people. So we wanted to kind of discuss that and see what was the problem. And it sounded like it was, there was some kind of conflict between them, but our point was what has been done to resolve the conflict. How are you working with them, to try to work things out. And I'm not sure if anything is really happening. The clinic got an email about the business being pulled. It was like a one-liner. We're not, please cancel our appointments for this month and until further notice. And so the clinic didn't even, from what I'm hearing from people in town, is they didn't really even know what was going on. And I guess they made calls out there to try to talk to them, and they're not getting any response. So anyway, that was all some issues that were brought up with the committee, and that the committee was concerned about. One of our committee members, brought up that I guess the board for the health district is going to have a meeting soon, and they're talking about possibly closing days. That we're going to lose days down there. They may eliminate positions. It's a big concern in Arlington. And I don't know if we got anywhere because they weren't there. And but we did pass the information on to Leah, and she said she would look into it and get back to us. And I haven't heard anything yet. They were also planning on, we're talking about fire, with the recent 60,000 acres in Gilliam County that were burned up. If they still were going to hold strong with that, we're not going to leave our property. What do you call it? Stance that they have now. What else did we talk about? We talked a little bit about the article in the paper about mercury, because another company someplace else has been cited and had to follow tougher restrictions on mercury emissions than they're making, the DEQ's making the Chemway side adhere to, and we just heard that they are working on it. They're trying to figure it out. That it's not in operation right now due to breakdown, but anyway, they're trying to get that sorted out. And as far as one of the members of the committee asked if it was, was the article fact or was it bogus, and they said it was exaggerated. So that's what we heard on the Mercury article. Like I said, the clinic took up the majority of the meeting. That was the biggest topic we had. And hopefully, I think what we'd like to see is just a conversation. We'd just like to see them
communicating.
Make an attempt to try to get business back down to the Arlington Clinic. It says in their conditional use permit that they will use local vendors.
Well.
And Arlington's a local vendor, and, you know, the Dallas Boardman, they're not.
Right.
Condon's a little closer to local, but it's really, Arlington is really the local vendor. Sorry, I'm going on and on about that. Oh, I've been asked to be on the BOPTA board, and I suppose I'm it. I mean, I don't suppose there's anybody else, so I will do that and I don't know what the process is, if, you know, it needs to be on the agenda or anything, but it sounds like we need a court member, and since you're leaving us,
Right.
I can do it.
Yeah, I think we do that. Those assignments are done sometime in December.
They're bugging me, but they're bugging me about it.
Of
For some
course.
reason, I think there's.
Of course.
Because I said,
Yeah.
well, we will have new commissioners in November. Why don't we wait and see who's on? And they said they couldn't wait that long.
Right.
So the MOU with the other counties, with Morrow and Sherman, will be coming before you in October.
Okay, anyway, I just want to let you know that I was willing.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take that on. I think that's the only meeting I went to was the Citizen Advisory Committee, and it was pretty interesting. Oh, they also did ask me to check in on the conditional use permit status. So I guess I need to talk to Michelle probably and find out where that's at. It's taken a long time. It was taking a long time even before, Michelle had to leave. So I'll check in with her and find out where we're at, and that's about all I know.
Okay.
Sorry if I took too long.
Well, the only thing that I know I've been to since our last regular court meeting was the Big Columbia Council of Governments. We had another short meeting to do our resolution on dissolution, I guess.
Okay.
Well, division of the assets and whatnot. It seemed like I talked to you guys about it before,
You
but
did, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how that happened, if it was after the court meeting, but anyway, as it turned out, they added like 3 items to the agenda. Did I tell you about that?
No, I don't.
Oh, yeah, we were supposed to have 1 item, and then at the last minute, we ended up with 4 items on the agenda. And then, due to some other circumstances, I was less than 10 minutes late, but they were on the last item already when I got there. And that how I didn't happen to be paying the interim director, who is a Wasco County Commissioner, another $1,200 for items which I thought should have been included in what we were paying for him already, but apparently he took more time to get it done. And so I voted no. Everyone else was in favor of it, but I voted no. And that, I mean, and I didn't even give them the reason, but that's the way I felt about it. So at this point in time, I think it's done.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Huh. I guess I've been sort of wondering when the end of this being done was going to be, because I thought we were done back in January.
Yes,
So.
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, that was the reason the resolution was to include the cities who had put money into it. They got a portion of the money back, not just the counties.
Right.
I mean, that was the main resolution, but then they had to redo, they had to do these other couple of resolutions, and then this idea of paying him more for it. So, and then there was discussion sort of afterwards about the building codes, which was outside the McCog official meeting.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
But it, unfortunately, I forget what happened that day, but something happened and I just couldn't be there on time. Well, let's say our moneymaker, the train that comes in at Arlington, that was one of the problems.
They got me today too.
Yeah.
I got stopped by the train too. Luckily, I was at my house though when I realized that the train was going by slowly, and so I just waited a little bit. But I was gonna try to
but
be
you
here
still
a little
had to wait.
Yes.
I couldn't have been there unless I got way earlier and missed the train. I wasn't going to make it anyway. I just happened to luck out and get there just as the tail end moved through, so.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, that's all that's happened. And, you know, other than the road department spent 7 days fighting fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least that's, Dewey said he'd been out there 7 days in a row
Okay.
on it. I don't know just how many the other guys did, but, so, yeah.
Well, for me, I had a couple of NORCOR meetings. I'll touch on those in just a minute. I also met with the clinic in regards to dentistry down there. I did meet with the dentist also, so I'll be touching on those. First thing that I kind of want to start off with is I did meet with Columbia Gorge Community College and the two superintendents of the school district. There was Dan Stats from the community college and Dr. Marta Cronin, who is the new president. They came to Condon, sat down with the two superintendents, and really the discussion was around, okay, collaboration between the three entities and determining, you know, what can we do to increase education opportunities and how can the community college help. There was quite a discussion about different things, consumer science, math, writing, physical education, culinary arts, anatomy and physiology, chemistry 101, biology, general science, U.S. history, introduction to philosophy, economics, along with diesel mechanics, manufacturing, for instance, glass etching and 3D printing and things like that, welding, machining. Basically, the two school districts were looking to the community college to help them deliver some of these opportunities to the kids here in the area. It's the first of what I think will probably be 3 or 4 different meetings that go on. It's really trying to create additional opportunities for the kids going to school here. At this time, the discussion has been around doing a big portion of some of these, specifically the first groups, not necessarily the CTE things, utilizing VTEL or they have 3 or 4 different terms that they used to create the opportunities within the classroom. And then the other thing was they called it, well, basically, you know, I can't remember what the term was, but it would be getting the teachers in the two school districts in a position to work so that they would have the certification to be able to teach some of these classes. I'm looking for it here within the notes that I have, and I apparently didn't write it down. But an important factor to the educators in the two high schools, that would be something that they are able to get, is that certification from the community college to be able to do that. Well, again, I think the two school superintendents were tickled to death that we were able to get the meeting put together and sit down and talk about it. Then I also had Frontier Telnet meeting, so it was like that. We had the county court meeting, it was in NORCOR. The next day, the day after that, was with the school superintendents and then Frontier Telnet, of which really some of the stuff that went on with that was Sherman County went out for an RFP, and it really was the cities within Sherman County that went out for an RFP to supply fiber to the home within their communities. Sherman County is putting money towards to the cities to be able to get that accomplished. The RFP was awarded to GorgeNet to be the ISP doing that. We also, I think I mentioned it, that there was an issue with Lone Rock, and they were without internet service for a while, so that was a big topic of conversation, and how we can deal with the ISP that's operating in Frontier Telnet. And ultimately, I think one of the big goals that Frontier Telnet has is getting replaced components within our owned facilities. It's equipment owned by the county, to create multi-ISP entities would be able to use it. Just an update on that, Day Wireless is going to have a presentation for us on the September 19th meeting. We have quite an interest coming from Wasco County right now for 911 possible services. That really wasn't within, it was a discussion at the Frontier Telnet, but it's really more of a Frontier Regional 911 discussion that will go on. Also, the city of John Day is looking to upgrade their wireless system and looking towards Frontier Telnet to help them with that. Also, I did meet with at the Arlington Clinic with the Advantage Dental came in. Their goal is to, ultimately what they wanted to do was really set up a family health center that went on at the Gronquist building. And really, they want mental health there, they want public health there, they want dentistry there, they want primary health care, all under the same roof. Right now, if we were to move dentistry, the clinic and Advantage Dental are talking about changing the Arlington conference room into a dental facility. There was an awful lot of discussion that went on there. Maybe it was
The one on the end of the building?
Yeah,
the Shane
yeah, the
building?
one that would be on the far east end of the Shane building. But I think there was some more discussion about community counseling solutions there on the west end of the Shane building and maybe doing something there. So that door is wide open right now for more conversations to go on there. Ultimately, what we're really talking about here is this is operating through the coordinated care organizations and really trying to get opportunities for dental care that would go on within to handle that clientele, really the Oregon Health Plan clientele at this time. So I don't know where this is going to go. I just happened to be there for the meeting, and I think there's a lot of things that still need to be discussed in getting that accomplished. When I first got involved with it, it was really trying to get something into the Gronquist building. Obviously, that has changed. Then that happened on Monday. On Tuesday, I went to the Oregon Coastal Caucus. It's an economic summit. The reason for going there, of course, there's an awful lot of legislators there, but in looking at the agenda, there were a few things that, well, I had conversations about. I had talked with Commissioner Rod Runyon, Tyler Stone, specifically around the 911. They had mentioned this. Things that I thought really pertain to Gilliam County is there was the challenges facing the marijuana industry and what is happening there. There's real concerns about additional grows happening, whether there's room for additional retail locations, any of this that we had conversations about a couple years ago and thinking that this might be sort of beneficial to us. It's not looking so good right now because there seems to be an overabundance of product being grown. And I don't know where this is going to go, but I felt as if some of the congressional people are not legislative people that were there talking, along with Rob Bovett of the Association of Oregon Counties, and I had the United States Attorney for the District of Oregon was there, and the Oregon Liquor Control Commission was also there. I think this is going to be kind of shrunk a little bit. And I don't know what it's going to take, but it's going to be, some legislative actions that are going to be going on and getting it done. Also, I was part of a discussion with the broadband within the state of Oregon. This was Senator Betsy Johnson's kind of little call to getting everybody there. It was really trying to figure out ways of, there seems to be quite a divide between what's in the metro area and what's out in rural, and what do we need to do to be able to pick it up. It was quite interesting. They had an individual by the name of Karen Perry. She's with the National Telecommunication and Information Administration. And basically her word was, it's going to be difficult to get it out into into those rural areas unless we really have a hard, strong push that goes on with congressional and legislative people saying how important it is to create the economic balance. Was kind of the word. Then the other thing it was quite a discussion around what they call fifth generation wireless. They had people from, CenturyLink was there. gosh, there was a person from Verizon, and one of the, Sprint was another person that was there that talked about 5G technology and how it's going to work, and really maybe it might be part of the solution in solving some of the things that go on out in rural America. One of the issues that they have is it's something that when they have what they call direct wireless to, so it's a direct line between Leslie and I, you can go miles with that. And when you get into the 5G technology, of course, it spreads it all through the room, but it's in a more limited area. And so it's, you know, really important that they have this direct line that would go to Leslie, for Leslie to put it out in her area, and direct line to, and it's these direct lines that they're really working on trying to get those accomplished. It's not all that expensive, but getting the direct lines is. I did have a conversation with, well, Joe Furnell was one of the individuals who gave the presentation there. I talked to Gordon Cook with the Nedward Field Engineering of the Northwest and explained some of the things that are going on within, you know, really our Tri-County area. And he's hoping to make a visit out here to take a look at what we've got. And he thinks maybe it might be something that we can convince some of the carriers to create. One of the things that I thought was quite interesting, and that was why I was sort of asking Andrew, just trying to see where, or not Andrew, but Connor. One of the things that he talked about was that these drones now are going to be going out there and flying over a field, you know, and gathering information, and that information going directly back to wherever it, you know, instead of bringing it in from a flash card, putting it onto a computer and sending it, that it would be actually going directly to a cloud-based program, and that, you know, really that's one of the things that they see as being beneficial in where this goes. Then again, there was another session that was on renewable energy that was, I have to tell you, I think the two of you have been to Association of Oregon Counties. I thought it was very, very similar to it. Almost identical. It just, I think they had better participation in getting the legislators there. I was quite amazed at the people that I was able to have conversations with and talk to, you know, consistently. I can go on down, well, let's see, they're at the front here. Catty McCown, got to spend time with her. With David Brocksmith, of course, I think you probably know him already. Sherry Springer, Pam Marsh was another one that Ken Helm, Debbie Boone, of course Arnie Roblin, he was one who kind of put it on. David Gromberg was one that had quite, and then Tina Kotak had a good conversation with both her and Peter Courtney. Specifically, it was around the conversation that we had with the school districts. Both of them have been pushing on that quite a bit. Let's see. Then building codes was really the last one that went in, and as you well know, the Department of Justice has thrown out a ruling that said that it was illegal to have third-party contractors come in and do building code inspections. There was a huge group of people that were there saying, absolutely not, we need to keep those third-party entities involved. Gosh, it was unbelievable the amount of people, but Senator Betsy Johnson said that, okay, this is stopping right now. The Department of Justice no more. I'm going to contact the Attorney General. This stops until we're able to, as a legislature, take a look at this and really weigh this the way it works. I did ask Betsy if we could have a representative from our specific area, specifically the Mid-Columbia Council of Governments, to be a part of a panel that begins looking into what would be the best way of covering building code services in rural areas. So she agreed, felt that it was important that we have some sort of input into it. one of the best things I've been to in probably my 5 years. It's the Oregon Coastal Caucus, and next year, definitely consider it. It costs nothing for the conference. Got a hotel room, and that was it. They paid for, there was a lunch, a dinner that was they had a tasting one evening. And so I met up with Judge MacArthur, and had dinner with him one evening, he and his wife, and so it went really well. I'm going to get to Norcor. I got a lot of things here, and I'm going to go through them as quickly as I can. If you have any questions, rattle them off. Norcor held a meeting. They had two of them, one the day after our last court meeting, and then that was to really select a individual to become the new administrator. The person that they selected, they offered the job to, he turned it down. So we met again on the 28th of August, and it was, okay, what's the next thing? Do we offer it to the number 2 individual? Do we go out again? What do we want to do? Also along with that, we felt that there needed to be, at least the administrator, the acting one now, Brian Brandon, felt that some sort of contract needed to be written up that would have temporary employment for him, a temporary employment agreement for this overlap between the new guy and him leaving. We got there, that was item number 2.1. Item number 2.2 was options for staffing the administrator position moving forward. They moved that in front of 2.1. And what was brought to the sheriffs brought a proposal to the board saying that they would like to go ahead and be the administrator of the adult facility. They would like the juvenile directors to be the administrators of the juvenile facility. So a whole new plan was discussed and brought to our attention, and it was like, okay, so kind of negated 2.1 to have any discussions with it or look into doing it. The way everything was pretty much left is, okay, sheriffs, go out and bring back the proposal on how you see this operating. Same thing with juvenile directors, so that we can really weigh and see how this is going to be. So more to come on that.
Doesn't sound good to me.
It's a little bit difficult.
I can't imagine they have the time to, it seems like being an administrator of a facility like that would be a full-time plus job.
Yeah.
And, sheriffs are gonna be able to do that in addition to what they already do.
As a group?
As a group,
Then
yeah.
you take turns doing it, or what? Oh, my.
Yeah, that's that was
Are
part
they
of the
going to
proposal.
hire somebody under their?
Well, that was one of the things that was discussed, was a corrections coordinator or whatever. I can't remember the word that they used, but it was all kind of, it was, Jeff Justison is really kind of the person who operates the juvenile facility, and they would be looking to get somebody to operate the adult facility in kind of the same way. So that person would report to the juvenile director, Jeff, to the juvenile director that's assigned by the juvenile directors to be that. They talked about rotating it. One of the issues that I had is rotating it might mean a year that Amy is the individual that's down there, or, back and forth running the juvenile facility.
Or
So-
it ends up that the local, the Wasco County juvenile director
Is there.
takes over that.
Right.
And then they hire somebody else to help in their juvenile department.
Correct. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to come about. Basically, everything that was on the agenda up to that particular point got wiped off because all of it was around, that. There was one more thing that come up that I owe you guys an apology on, because I misinformed you, and it's here in the minutes. It says that Judge Schaefer said the member counties are unanimously in favor of supporting the legal fees. However, he agreed with Hood River County opinion that the repair of the building currently leased by In Situ should not be discussed separately, or should be discussed separately. Actually, I thought they were on board and paying the legal fees, but they're not on board Wasco and Hood River are not on board even the legal fees. So I found that out that day and did not realize that. So, I want to make sure that we get that sort of corrected. Again, it was, I didn't think it was a misunderstanding, but obviously it was.
Yeah.
So, need to make sure that you guys are aware of it.
Sounds like more macabre to me.
Yeah, well, you think you're having a conversation and you're getting the information from them, and whether it's I didn't hear right or I wasn't told right or whatever. So that, when I got back, well, actually, while I was down at the Coastal Caucus, I had a conversation with Senator Hansel down there, and it was in around the fire issues that we have going on, of which he took me over to a Brad Witt, who was a representative, and we both again talked about it, and a meeting was set up with Sherman and Gilliam County firefighters and ranchers and things like that to discuss how firefighting is handled within our area, specifically wildland firefighting, and what does the State Fire Marshal Office do in this. And so they asked, I was asked to recruit firefighters. Specifically, I was asked to recruit Jim Hinton, the two chiefs, and I said that I thought Shannon Kopic was appropriate to be there as the Gilliam County Fire Service Coordinator, and I said that I felt it was appropriate to have Chris Fitzsimmons as our Emergency Management Coordinator. She worked very closely with both the State Fire Marshal's Office and I got to get to this quicker. So anyway, we also invited some ranchers, Rita Rattry, Denny Goodwin, Andrew Jameson, Tom Campbell, and I know I'm missing somebody, but it was the representatives that we had there was Representative Dan Bonham, Representative Brad Witt, Senator Betsy Johnson was there, Senator Herman, and I know I'm going to blow his name, it's Bart Schrager was there also. Anyway, he has an awful lot of experience in the firefighting end of things, and when we were talking about waste management and those issues there, that was the one thing that he kept coming back to regularly was the possibilities of litigations and issues that would go on if there was ever a problem that come up. So one of the things that was discussed there is how can we mitigate that problem. So I did talk with Herman after the meeting and said it is an issue with us because of the waste management situation, and he said he would like to spend a little bit more time talking with me about that, that specific issue.
Where was this meeting?
This was over at at Sherman County High School.
Oh.
It was Tuesday, the 24th, I think, or something like that. It was the 28th. And yeah, it was all put together on like the 23rd of August, so it just happened really quickly. Then, of course, we met on Thursday, or on Wednesday, the 29th. We had such a fun day there. And then also the Energy Facility Siting Council, the rulemaking advisory committee that I got assigned to. We chose to have me as a representative. Anyway, the questions, are what is really being discussed here is I guess number one, whether rulemaking is needed. FSEC is here. Okay, let me kind of cover what this is. FSEC is utilized to cite 100 megawatts and more projects. And what is happening is there are solar projects out there that are coming in for, being 100, okay. It's maybe somebody who's putting in a 25 megawatt and somebody putting in a 50 and somebody else putting in a 30, which runs it over the 100 megawatt threshold. It's actually 104, but runs it over that. But yet they're sort of combining together to utilize transmission and a few of those things. They all feel they're separate. But FSAC is saying, well, no, they're all right there in that one area. They aren't separate, they're just utilizing, some of the same infrastructure, so they're all the same. So this is the rulemaking that is being discussed. So question number one is, do we really need to change the rulemaking? Question number two is, what is it that we want to have that rulemaking be, and whether this is something we should incorporate? Because one of the things that came out during the meeting, and I had to do it by phone, which is really difficult when you have a room full of people. The list is right here, 30, and those will be signed, and there was probably another 15 or 20 that were there that are not part of it, but did speak. So, whether this is tied strictly to solar or whether it should be expanded to other things. So going back to FSAC, why it was put together was really to cite nuclear plants. Maybe Commissioner Weimer, you remember some of that. It was really back in our, would be our college days, but maybe Mac might remember some of it too, but very clearly. Yeah, I think we were involved here with the Pebble Springs project that was looking, so. Anyway, quite interesting, but also the meeting was held in Salem, and I had some things in the afternoon that I had to work here last Thursday, so consequently I did it by phone. Also, and I'm sure Commissioner, this is the last thing, okay? Cape Co is going to be hosting a kind of, information gathering for it's really the AAA program and some of the things that they can be able to do for low-income citizens in their service area. They'll be in Fossil on September 12th and September 25th in Arlington. So I thought it might be something for you guys to consider. I'll leave it with you to, either one of you. Mike probably is going to hear it in the meeting. Leslie, you might thought it might be interesting. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to have to get out of here real quickly. So unless you guys have more questions of me, which I appreciate, we wait until the 19th if we could. So.
I've got a quick question. What's become of the decision on the Philippi quarry? Is that resolved? Or?
Yeah, so that was at the public hearing last week, and it was approved.
There was a public hearing
last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday. It was a continuation of the hearing from the 15th.
Yeah, that either slipped by or wasn't aware. Was that here?
It was here.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we publicized it.
Do you have to do
So
continuation?
there was no public notice put out because it was a continuation, but it was announced and agendas and meeting notices were sent out a week before.
I think I got one. I guess I'll catch up on that.
Okay.
You can read the minutes if I ever get them done.
Okay, at this time, we'll adjourn.